After reading Chapter 9 about technology used to support learning, I have 5 big takeaways from the chapter that would be well applied for instructional designers and teachers of various types of students. The first takeaway is that technology can be used as a new curriculum for students to give them exposure to real-life scenarios. So when children are working on different science or math problems, they can actually interact with technology and put themselves in that real world situation to see these scenarios come to life. So instead of reading a textbook and then answering the questions at the end, students will have the opportunity to actually interact with what is going on the screen, to maybe put themselves in the scenario and to solve these problems and work through a lot of the logistics of maybe architecture problems, as the chapter pointed out. And this is a really great way for them to actually get that hands-on experience and really be able to exercise their creativity in a more reflective way. The second takeaway from this chapter is that technology can provide a sort of scaffolding for learning. So if you have a concept that is up here for learners and they're starting here, technology can be that building block that kind of gives those situations that will get learners to the top and eventually kind of build upon those smaller concepts. Before they know it, they're going to end up having a more thorough knowledge. But a lot of really complex learning situations and real world applications are going to be kind of difficult for students to wrap their mind around. It's a little bit too abstract. So those smaller building blocks can be touched on with technology. Different scenarios can actually almost trick students into learning those bigger and broader concepts that will help them later in life when they enter the professional world. Takeaway 3 from this chapter is that technology provides quick and effective feedback for learners, and I think this really also helps instructors in some big ways. If a teacher has a really large class, it's very difficult to give immediate and thorough feedback, and so a lot of these learning tools actually provide students with very effective feedback if used properly. The chapter talked about some learning programs where students could test out different scenarios, and part of the feedback that they got was the program showed them the outcome of their scenarios. So if what they built was not structurally sound, that feedback would maybe be the structure falling apart, and so students knew, well, that didn't work, let's see if I can work through it a different way. So that kind of problem solving with the interactive feedback of a program is really helpful. The chapter also talked about doing kind of mobile device quizzes, getting feedback from students in that way, and then being able to discuss with the class based on class answers, kind of what went wrong, what needs to be worked on for the future. And so if used correctly, this can definitely be a really strong place where educators and students can connect and get that feedback in a more efficient and quick manner. Takeaway 4 from this chapter is that technology has the potential to build a learning community. So with the advancements of technology and the rise of the internet, teachers, if they just take a few minutes at the end of the day, can post different information online or through an answering machine type deal about what was completed during the day, some assignments that children should be working on when they get home, and then any upcoming events. So this is a really great way for teachers and parents to interact in ways that help the parents understand how to best aid their children when they get home from school. And the chapter talks about how both low-income and high-income families would use this kind of technology equally. Also, this kind of is a great way, this online community is a great way to connect students with, experts in different fields. I mean, this kind of community can definitely be utilized in some pretty cool ways and allow students to have that kind of mentorship across bigger gaps than they could have without technology. The fifth and final takeaway from this chapter is that technology enables teachers to actually learn alongside their students. So with growing technology, teachers are going to be learning while their students are learning about this technology. So it's going to be this very collaborative environment that kind of will strengthen those relationships between students and teachers and kind of redefine that responsibility of learning. Additionally, there will be online communities for teachers, so if they need some help grasping these concepts more, there are lots of online communities for teachers who are figuring out different technologies where they can connect with other teachers and receive that support that's really helpful when you are taking on some new challenges. So technology definitely bridges a lot of gaps and increases communication both for students and for teachers. So those are the 5 takeaways from Chapter 9 about learning and technology. So technology is definitely a key component for learning both with teachers and students, and when well utilized, it's definitely something that's going to have some great impacts, and I think that the educational system will definitely see a lot of growth in the next several years with this technology if it's used correctly. Thank you.